everyone and welcome to the Captain's video log. We are Wednesday, December 28th, 2016. I feel it's going to be really tough to report on SmackDown, as I would do it because it had the quality of a pay-per-view. Yeah, really, it was a 2-hour show with 3 matches and it had the quality of a pay-per-view. The tag team match, was fucking amazing. I mean, at least the parts with American Alpha, like it felt like the two other teams were just there to make American Alpha shine, with Rhino just taking a Northern Lights suplex by by Chad Gable before a Uso tagged himself in and eliminated Slater and Rhino. And yeah, the Usos who were on the receiving end of the synchronized overhead suplexes before getting eliminated by American Alpha and beating up American Alpha. Yeah, just and then there was this great part of the match between the White family represented by Orton and Luke Harper, probably team building exercise, which failed against American Alpha because so things were going pretty well for the White family despite Harper getting thrown out of the ring by Jason Jordan, and also taking just wonderful bridging German suplex by Gable. Like, how much power is in Gable's body? Like, I really feel like just as a one-off, I want to see Chad Gable versus Neville on 205 Live, because that's the kind of things, Gable is under 205 pounds, so he could be a cruiserweight. Like, I feel like down the road American Alpha is gonna split up. That's usually what happens to teams. And Jason Jordan is going to be I don't know, possibly the Intercontinental title picture, but Chad Gable, like, his size is what's going to be a problem for him. Not that a guy his size cannot win, but it just feels like they want to put some focus on the cruiserweights. I said that it failed because American Alpha won after there was a bit of a miscommunication between Orton and Harper. Like, Harper went on the ring apron while Orton was just battering on Gable in the corner, but then Gable pushed him off, and Orton elbowed Harper in the face, and then just tagged in Jason Jordan. And there was the Grand Amplitude, and that's how the match ended. Yep. And you see, like, I feel like I've just abridged the match so much. It doesn't feel right that I just talked about that. Like, they went on Talking Smack, and they didn't even talk a lot about the match. They talked about, being so close to being number 1 contenders or being number 1 contenders, and just having the rug being pulled out under their feet, and finally they are champion, and they knew that they would be, they're not cocky, they're confident, they hug people, and then JBL, just said, out with that shit of really Ready, Willing, and Gable, except it's the very thing that made us all like Chad Gable, like, we never saw him wrestle before he arrived with his towels and tried to win over Jason Jordan, who was still trying to find a new partner after ditching Ty Dillinger. It was pretty dark time for Double J and for Ty Dillinger, before his perfect 10 overhaul. But besides that, I feel like I'm not doing justice to the match by saying just that. Like, when I'm gonna talk about the women's title match, what can I talk about? It was a great match too, but it was, oh, you know, the thing that overshadowed everything in that match was not really La Luchadora arriving again, but not being Becky Lynch, and you know, it's just that the thing with Alexa Bliss and her arm, she is apparently double jointed because, I mean, she popped her elbow popped out of the socket. The arm was floppy. It was bent the wrong way, and it distracted the ref. So La Luchadora, who was in the process of getting her mask being pulled by Becky, threw Becky into the ring post, and then, you know, as she saw that, Alexa just decided to pop her elbow back in the socket, and it was honestly really disgusting. And then she won with a DDT. Yeah, and she hooked the leg with the arm that was injured. Like, she saw the injury, because I'm pretty sure that doing that, even if you're double jointed, must hurt like a bitch. But yeah, but it overshadowed the fact that both Lynch and Bliss are over, at least with that kind of crowd, because they were doing chants, let's go Bliss, let's go Becky. That was great. Both women got pretty warm receptions, even though Bliss was a bit booed during the presentations in the ring. So yeah, but I feel like, you know, I feel like there is so much stuff that I could talk about. Like, for a minute, they both tried to pin each other and they reversed the pins. I don't know. There is the amazing heel work of Alexa Bliss being like, I'm not touching the ropes. She's not under the ropes. I can do the surfboard all I want. You know, the thing with her knees. You know, she first drops the knees and then she does a flip and then she drops the knees again. That was great. And I feel like you should really watch SmackDown. Like, if I had only one thing to say about SmackDown and Talking Smack and 205 Live, it's that you should watch SmackDown. Like, look at this. You see that? This is what I've written about Dean Ambrose's time on Talking Smack last night, and it's most of the thing is most of it could be a soundboard, because, for example, maiming, like, it's great. Like, Dean Ambrose on Talking Smack is great, but last night he had a lot of really quotable, lots of really good quotes. Like, yeah, it's weird to see it. That's what dogs do. They bite. Next week, Miz would be spitting veneers like he's choking on Tic Tacs. And also, you know, he actually put Miz over by saying that he's quietly putting up a Hall of Fame career, that he's dominating the IC title picture. But Ambrose is going to be the one to be knocking Miz off, because, yeah, next week they are having an IC title match. It all started with the Miz not wanting to talk about to anyone but Renee Young. And it ended with Dean Ambrose getting another shot at the IC title. Yeah, that was something that happened. Fuck, my voice is slowly fading away. That's not great. Yeah, and there was the triple threat match for the WWE Championship It was, you know, probably, you know, JBL just likes to throw that expression around the, you know, career-defining match, but it really was a career-defining match for Baron Corbin. He looked like a legitimate threat. He looked like he belonged in the main event picture. Sure, he botched one point where he was supposed to break up a pin, but, you know, at least you have a ring general, well, two ring generals, like AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler, who are able to make up shit on the go, and AJ Styles with the great, amazing ring IQ. Like, he can put up a shoulder no matter at any point during a pin, and you would believe that the pin could have gone through. Yeah, and it was great. Like they had to team up to get rid of Baron Corbin. Like they put him, to both of them, they put him through a table, and then it wasn't enough. And that's just an amazing, amazing storytelling. Like he's being put through a table, and yet he finds it in himself to do just an amazing deep six. He has the energy to pull out two end of days, which with one being part of an amazing combo. Like did the end of days on AJ Styles while Dolph Ziggler was doing the zigzag on Corbin. Like wow, like that's the kind of things that you might rehearse it 1,000 times and you could still fuck it up on the live performance. So you really have to have someone talented to have that happen. And I feel like Baron Corbin has a lot of untapped potential. So yeah, and at the end of the day, it just sounded bad because I'm gonna talk about the end of days. It's Baron Corbin's power that fucked him. He did the end of days on Dolph Ziggler, but Dolph Ziggler was then out of the ring, and AJ Styles just picked up on it to do the phenomenal form and then close off the match, win the match. So he's still the WWE champion, but at the very beginning of the evening, John Cena, after cutting an amazing promo about still being, here, he's not going away, he's not a part-timer, he doesn't have one foot out of the door, and he reiterated that on Talking Smack. He is still someone that you have to go through if you want to prove yourself. And I feel like AJ Styles has done exactly that at SummerSlam. Turns out that John Cena was at 100% at SummerSlam. He was, he had spent the whole first part of the year with the shoulder being destroyed. Poor John Cena. But yeah, and therefore, John Cena said, you know what, at the Royal Rumble, I'm gonna face the winner of the triple threat. So he came out and he was like, I wrote it because it didn't really stay in my head. He said, no, that's the thing with 205 Live, he said, I'm taking it from you. And then, AJ Styles got really riled up about that, said, we'll see about that, this is going nowhere. He ended the show, like, not even in a microphone. He was yelling so loud that you could hear him say, it is going nowhere. He was pointing at the belt that he had just laid out at his feet, like, cross the line, come on, I'm waiting for you. This is going nowhere. Like, you were big-leaguing me by coming to shake my hand. It was a show of respect. But then again, it's John Cena, so you can kind of see why you would think that he might be hugging the spotlight. Much like his girlfriend, who was like, I came out from a career-threatening injury in 10 months. It's not because of my looks. Thank fuck, it's not because of your looks, because then it would be just too much. I'm the star of 2 hit the reality shows. Oh god, well, there it goes again. So essentially it's because Natalia is jealous. I don't know. Is James Ellsworth going to be a pawn in all that? Because he was once again saved from a Dasha Fuentes interview by Carmella, who finds him uniquely attractive. That sounds so wrong on so many levels. Like, no, don't say stuff like that. So yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's. Now I've talked about everything that was on SmackDown. Yeah, there was Baron Corbin rocking while he was interviewed. Like, stop doing that. When he's sitting down, it's okay. He starts having the chops for the interviews, but he still rocks when he's standing and he's talking, and it's really distracting. So yeah. 205 Live. Apparently, the people of the good people of Chicago, who are always so fun to work with, because I mean, unlike on Raw where they were chanting CM Punk because the product was cheap, the only time they chanted CM Punk was when Cena arrived, and Cena was like, "Are you changing Cena's socks? I can hear you." um, so yeah, the good people of Chicago were baited to stay through 205 Live by the promise of a tag match with the top stars of SmackDown after 205 Live. So yeah, that was fun. And to be fair though, 205 Live is essentially a lot of filler, but it's fun filler, and it's a great main event, and you should feel bad for not being willing to watch all of that great action. Because, for example, Cedric Alexander versus Tony Nese, you have Tony Nese, the premier athlete. It's not a title that is, he's not usurping that title. He is really the premier athlete. He can do, brawling style, just ground and pound, but also some high flying maneuvers. And when you've got someone who is also kind of a full package like Cedric Alexander, it's really you have to have it in you. And also a great finisher, that palm strike, like just through the jaw. Helps that Drew Gulak, who was in a suit, managed to get Alicia Fox ejected from ringside. So yeah, always the small distractions, like twice in a row. Cedric Alexander lost because of Drew Gulak and Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox, who actually slapped Noam Dar twice across the face because he was like, "Hey, mistletoe, what about mistletoe?" Yeah, you gotta give credit for the persistent Noam Dar. No, you don't give credit to a clingy guy like him. Oh god, and I know a bit about being clingy, like clingy, I don't know, but I definitely know what it's like, and it's not great. Yeah. Then there was a little interview with Neville, which was cut short because he threw a Geordie word, and Renee Young didn't understand it. So yeah, Neville thinks that the WWE didn't put him at first into the Cruiserweight division and in the Cruiserweight Classic because he's too good. There wouldn't have been any competition if I had been in the Cruiserweight Classic, he said. Yeah, right. And it sounds like Rich Swann was a bit like in a slave position when he was in Japan. Yeah, just sounded like it. Anyway, then there was Mustafa Ali, who is from Chicago, so small pop, versus John Yurnett. John Yurnett, the guy who was dressing up as a Saiyan on NXT some time ago, who was actually an extra for the CWC. Like, if there was someone injured, he would have taken its place. Yeah, Mustafa Ali won the match pretty fast after an inverted DDT. He did an inverted 450 splash, and the promo he gave after the match, wanting to challenge the stereotypes of someone being called Mustafa Ali and being with his skin tone, it sounded like he was turning face. Now, I'm not too sure about that, so don't quote me on that. Yeah, really don't. Then there was Ariya Daivari versus Jack Gallagher in a gentleman's duel. Didn't look very gentlemanly. Like, sure, you're not gonna bring guns into a WWE ring, but yeah, just was not really gentlemanly. There were umbrellas, there was a wrench, lead pipes. You can take any weapon you want, and you do 5 paces and all that. And I mean, Daivari tried to attack Gallagher while they were doing the 5 paces, but Gallagher apparently has been in his share of unfair duels, so he just fucked him up first with the umbrella, and then with his head, and then with his feet. And because Daivari was thrown out of the ring, Gallagher won by forfeit. Yeah, and Daivari wasn't too fond of that. Mauro Ranallo referenced a duel that happened in 1612 in Japan, and Graves called him out on that, which means that Graves might have known about it too. Yeah. There was a little promo about Tajiri debuting next week, and then the main event, great main event between Neville and Rich Swann. Swann not wanting to shake Neville's hand, so yeah, that is going great, to be quite honest. So there was a lot of the new vicious side of Neville, like a vicious throw into the leg board, just vicious. Nothing too kind about and too flashy about Neville's performance. Like he did a standing shooting star press, but it was because he felt like he had to do it. He won with a superplex. Out of all the moves to whip out a superplex, like Rich Swann tried to do a twisting 450 splash, and Neville won with a superplex, and then he said, bring me my crown, bring me my crown. He is completely crazy, and I love it. So anyway, so really 2 great shows, 3 hours and a half of great wrestling. The length is not what's hurting Raw, it's the booking. They don't know what they are doing. I feel because SmackDown is booked like a really sports show, where the characters are not one-track minded, and it feels more real, and that's probably what helps. Or you could go balls to the walls, like in the Attitude Era. That worked. So yeah, anyway, it's 11:15, so because there's a seance of Kimi no Nawa, Your Name, the film by Makoto Shinkai, in like 5 hours, I'm gonna take a small nap, because I've been up actually since midnight. I was really happy to see that the yesterday's video weblog was actually up before midnight, that I'm not not gonna test my luck two times. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Yep.